Bike's dirty. I'll clean that later. Seems like a nice day to ride, inshallah. It's gonna be a short ride today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Feels good, alhamdulillah, to be back on the bike. Weather's not too hot, weather's just perfect, alhamdulillah. And I haven't done a moto vlog in a while as well, so let's see how this goes. Cars stopped right in front of me. Alhamdulillah. I don't know why. Every time I get on the bike, I'm like, why did I wait so long to do that? Alhamdulillah. So, what am I moto vlogging about today? Actually, one of the topics that I wanted to speak about was since Ramadan, you know, is not too far away. Since Ramadan left us not too long ago. You know, oftentimes people talk about Ramadan, and after Ramadan's over, and I hear people say, I want that feeling back. Meaning I want that feeling that I had in the month of Ramadan. Now, I have some good news and I have some bad news. Good news is that, well, I'll start with the bad news. Bad news is you cannot exactly get that feeling back, right, outside of the month of Ramadan. The good news is that you can get quite close. You can get quite close to how you felt in the month of Ramadan. And usually I say, like in summary, if I were to summarize this whole issue, I would say, if you want that feeling back, do what you were doing in Ramadan. That's it. Think about all that you were doing in Ramadan, and you'll get that feeling back. Our iman, and I've spoken about this before, doesn't go up and down automatically. It's not like it's not something that is out of our control. Our iman is something that the more work we put into it, the more it strengthens. And the more we let it go, the more we neglect it, the more it goes down and it weakens. So our iman was strong in the month of Ramadan, our spirituality was strong because we were working at it. I mean, think about everything you were doing in the month of Ramadan. And obviously, our iman is going to be strong. Obviously, our spirituality is going to be strong. Obviously, we're going to feel great. So, as I said, you know, you can think about Ramadan in a couple different categories in terms of what you were doing. First of all, the Quran. Right, you had a relationship with the Quran. Every single day you were at the very least listening to the Quran. Maybe not reciting, maybe not, you know, reading the meaning and the translation and, you know, the interpretation, but at least you were listening to the Quran on a daily basis. You can do that, right, to get close to that feeling. But also you were reciting. Some people were reciting, and that helped. Also, most likely you're praying your 5 daily prayers on time, all of them. That's something you can do. You can have that relationship with your salah, your prayer, like you had in the month of Ramadan. So, being consistent with your prayer outside of the month of Ramadan. There's one aspect of the month of Ramadan that is kind of hard to get outside of the month of Ramadan. And that's why I said earlier, the bad news, or a little bit of the bad news, is that you cannot completely get that feeling back. What is that aspect of Ramadan? That is the aspect of congregation, jama'ah. So every day you were going to the masjid, but it wasn't just you going to the masjid, right? So if you're going by yourself, you can say, khalas, you can do that now. You go to the masjid every day. But but you were going to the masjid and you saw the masjid was full, and you felt the brotherhood and the sisterhood, and everybody's worshiping together by doing goodness together. How did that make you feel? That made you feel great. And that doesn't happen outside of the month of Ramadan, to that extent at least. Right, so that's why it's hard to duplicate that. But there are congregational things that we can do outside of the month of Ramadan that can get us close. So obviously the Jum'ah prayer is important. Any other congregational prayers, even if it's, you know, maybe let's say in your masjid there's 200 people there for Isha, now there's 10 people, that is still a congregation, that is still a Jama'ah. And we know the Prophet told us that a person who prays in Jama'ah congregation, they have, in one narration, 27 times more reward, right? So automatically our spirituality goes up when we pray in congregation. So trying to pray as many prayers in congregation as possible outside of the month of Ramadan, that's something we can do. Also, you know, going to events where Muslims are together. So it doesn't have to be just the masjid, or, you know, just the prayer in the masjid. You know, halaqat in the masjid, or lectures, that would be good. Any other classes going on, anything that you can do where you are together with Muslims learning is great. But as I was saying, anything that you can attend where Muslims are together, learning, doing things, you know, goodness, that'll increase your iman, you'll feel some of what you felt in the month of Ramadan. And, you know, I say this because of my first-hand experience. You know, I teach Al-Maghrib seminars. And those who attend Al-Maghrib seminars, if you've never attended one, you know, I would highly recommend it. Those who attended always talk about how they felt during the seminar and then how they feel after. There's this thing that Al-Maghrib students call the Al-Maghrib blues. That's basically the day after the Al-Maghrib seminar, like Monday morning or whatever. You know, the students have spent, you know, 2.5 days learning together and growing together, becoming stronger in their faith together. And then, boom, they go back to their everyday life, you know, whether it's like work or school or whatever. And you feel kind of sad. And even as a teacher, I feel that, you know, the day after the seminar is over, I feel a little bit sad, you know, that weekend is over. But those are the Al-Maghrib blues. But that's what, you know, what that is. It's a normal reaction because you just spent all this time with your fellow Muslim brothers and sisters learning. And so when you cut that off immediately, that's going to you're going to feel the Al-Maghrib blues. And likewise is the Ramadan blues, right? We feel the Ramadan blues after Ramadan is over. But, you know, we want to try and minimize that. And by the way, built into Islam, we do have something to kind of ease us off. You know, fasting the 6 days of Shawwal, fasting 6 days after the month of Ramadan, there's a reason why that's there. And one of the wisdoms behind fasting 6 days after Ramadan is over is so that we don't go from fasting every day to not fasting at all. So doing at least 6 days out of the month, and that's there, you know, apart from the reward obviously, but it's there so that we keep that contact with the siyam, with the fasting, right? That we don't completely cut it off. And that should be a theme for us after the month of Ramadan, that look, we don't have to do everything that we were doing in the month of Ramadan, but we shouldn't go from 100 to 0. And that's important. And so, yes, you know, we can have that feeling that we had in the month of Ramadan. We just have to find ways to supplement what we're missing from the month of Ramadan. So yeah, that's just a couple pieces of advice. I mean, obviously there's a lot more that can be done outside of the month of Ramadan. So, you know what, I'd like to hear from you, inshallah. What would you advise me, first and foremost, and everyone else who's listening, everyone else who's here? So in the comments below, what would you suggest to kind of bring that feeling back, or to get some of that feeling back from the month of Ramadan? Well, what do you do personally, and what would you advise, inshallah ta'ala? And I'm gonna get back to my ride.